Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Abhramam Bhangarahitam Ajaram Vimalam Sada Anandatithamatlam Vajetapatrayapaham Mithya Siddhanta Dudvanta Vidvamshana Sakshana Jaitita Katanir Bhasatam no Hridambare Artikalpta Kalpoya Pratyarthika Kesari Vyasatitha Gurubhuyad Aspadishtata Siddhaye Tapo Vidya Virakyadi Sadgunoga Karanham Vajraja Gurun Vande Haikriyopdashayan Raghavendraya Marataya Bhasatam Kalpurukshaya Namatam Kamadhenave Durvadi Dhvantaravaya Vaishnavendi Varendave Shri Raghavendra Gurave Namo Achindayalave Apad Moli Pariyantam Gurunam Aktim Smare Tena Vignaha Prashyanti Siddhyantam Manorathaha Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. After doing Sashtanga Namaskaras to Sri Vidya Shishatita Sri Padangalauru and also Sri Puttigamatadesha Sri Sunenatita Sri Padangalauru, I am starting today's Geetha session. Bhagavad Geetha. So the first and foremost question that comes for any jignasu regarding Bhagavad Gita is, this is an instruction given by Lord Sri Krishna to Arjuna when Arjuna hesitated to fight in the war. So if the message contains something that enables somebody to participate in the war, for common man, like, for people like us, we are not in any verge of war. We are not in a battlefield or anything. So how is that message relevant for us? If the message is for our daily activities, then how is it relevant for Arjuna? So if it is relevant for Arjuna to fight in the war, then it is not relevant for our day-to-day normal activities. If it is relevant for day-to-day normal activities, then it may not be relevant for Arjuna to participate in the war. So it should be either meant for instructions during the war or about to get into the war, or it's an instruction for everyday activities. So which is this? Bhagavad Gita is for what? If we say it's for daily activities, then why is Krishna teaching Arjuna about the daily activities when the war is about to break? So this is one of the fundamental questions that can come to somebody's mind. The beauty of the Bhagavad Gita is such that it is applicable for all walks of life, for all times, in all fields, in everything. It is a universally applicable principle. So this also contains the instruction for Arjuna. This also contains the instruction for everybody. So this is a common instruction. How is it common? Because for anybody, whether it is a war activity or daily activity, the basic question that comes is how we should perform. What should be our background thinking process? What should we really focus upon? So this focusing necessity, it is required no matter what the field is, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the person is. That is why this is universally applicable. And as we saw in the last session, Krishna talked to Arjuna about the eternality of the soul and all this. So we should be aware of the eternality of the soul. Why? How does it matter Atma is eternal or not? So why is it connected in case of a battle or in case of a daily activity? How is the eternality of the soul? What has it to do with anything at all? That's one of the one question that can come. So because a lot of people who say, okay, anyway, we are all going to die anyway one day. Why bother? Why go through all this, learning process, all shastras and all? Anyway, we are going to die. So let us not, bother about it. Or in case of Arjuna as a battlefield, why engage in the war with so much of killing, cruelty? So why all this? So this nirlipta bhava, that means being indifferent or being relaxed or being basically lazy or saying, oh, why bother? Why bother? This attitude can come whether it's a war or daily activity. Why bother? Why go through all these big tortures in life? Why go through this? This thought can come to anybody, and one big force that can take us out of that is a way. Look, if you do good things now, you are eternal. That means the jiva is eternal, and the body may go away, but another body comes, and whatever karma we do now, we reap its fruits. Eventually, the karma siddhanta is basically the root of all the things. So it is for daily activity or war. The karma theory tells us whatever we do now, it will eventually help us to progress and eventually help us to go travel towards the moksha. So it is both for mundane laukika, laukika prayojana, and also it is for amushmika prayojana or mukti, liberation. So it is for both. Doing good karma is very necessary. So what is good karma, what is not good karma, all this knowledge is essential whether we are concerned with the daily activity or war activity. It is common. That's why it is a universally applicable principle. And when we are actually seeing Lord Krishna's instructions to Arjuna, we are also looking how it is relevant for us. So we are parallelly going two things we are doing at the same time. One, how Krishna is instructing Arjuna and how we get benefit out of it. So the nityatva of the jiva, it is to be remembered at all times. So that means we should do good karma so that in our long journey, so this one janma may be just like a dot in the eternal sadhana. It's just a small piece, but this really helps us in going in the right direction. So this is the reason why we should know and think about the eternality of the soul. And also, the body is going to go away means excessive attachment to the body. Of course, we have to do Sharira Madhya Khalu Dharma Sadhanam. We have to take care of our body, but only to the extent that this body is a tool for us to do the sadhana. This understanding has to be there at all times. So, this is a very important concept. So, we talked about in the last class the sloka that we talked, avinashita tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avesyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. So nobody can really, even a great most powerful being, even like maharshis or anybody, will not even think of or attempt to do any harm to the eternal soul. So eternality of the soul is not affected by anything at all. And that's one thing. Okay, if the soul is eternal, Paramatma is eternal, both of us are eternal. So why even bother about worshipping Paramatma? We are also eternal. Paramatma also is eternal. We are on the same boat. So why bother worshipping Paramatma? This is another doubt that can come to somebody's mind. So the answer for that is the eternality, soul and eternality of Paramatma, though both are eternal, the soul has to have the grace of Paramatma to obtain the happiness in the liberated. So to get liberated and to get happiness in the liberated state, and also to get happiness in Laukika also. For all this, the grace of Paramatma is needed, and he alone is Swatantra and he alone is Purna. So we talked about four kinds of Nasha. The four kinds of Nasha is that we listed, and among those four kinds, each one has some kind of nasha or other. Even Lakshmi Devi has apurnata. Apurnata, how is apurnata a kind of nasha? Apurnata is incompleteness. How can incompleteness be a nasha? Means it is a shortcoming. Nasha means what? Is a destruction is one meaning. Nasha means something that's shortcoming, something that's not being there. So that is also a kind of a nasha. So nasha chaturvidha proktaha. So anityatvam dehahani dukkha prapti apurnata. Anityatva is one kind of, that means non-eternality is a nasha. So not having non-eternality is having eternality. That is one kind of a prevention of nasha. Jivas are, okay, they are free from anityatva because they are nityas. That is fine. But that also is not in independent way. Jivas do not have the eternality because of their own capability. They have eternality because Paramatma has given to them. That's why they have the eternality. So anityatvam, dehahani, but dehahani is there. We acquire bodies, and during amukta, unliberated state, we go through the bodies. All this deha prapti and dehahani, acquiring the body and losing the body, it happens to all the samsarika jivas. For that, they are dependent upon Paramatma. So we have to worship and pray Paramatma for his grace. So dehani, dukkha prapti. Dukkha prapti, during the deha, while having the body, okay, body is still there, whatever number of years we have the body. So during that, we will have all the kinds of happiness means, no, it only Paramatma grants it we have. So even Laukika Sukha or Paratrika Sukha, that means the happiness after the liberated state. For everything, the jivas are dependent on Paramatma. So the dukkha prapti and absence of dukkha prapti is sukha, sukhatva, nitya sukhatva, moksha. That both are dependent upon Paramatma. This awareness will increase our jnana and also bhakti. So it will lead to acquisition of jnana and bhakti. That is why we should know all these factors. And apurnata is incompleteness. Everybody has this apurna. Apurnata dosha is universal. Swatantro Bhagavan Vishnu. He alone is purna. Purna means complete in all respects. Deshataha, kalataha, gunataha. There may be a lot of entities which are deshataha, kalataha, anantatva having entities, or for example the space, prakriti, mula prakriti, Lakshmi Devi, all these are also present everywhere, and also they are deshataha, kalataha, ananta shaktis. But Paramatma gunataha also is purna, and this guna purnatva is present only in case of Paramatma, and no one else, including Lakshmi, nobody else has this guna purnatva. By knowing this, our devotion, bhakti towards Paramatma gets firmed up, and this is why I have to worship Paramatma, obtain his grace, and go towards Paramatma. This jnana and bhakti, vairagya, we say, people just loosely say, oh, we all should get jnana bhakti vairagya. But just because we want jnana bhakti vairagya, it's not a commodity available in the market. Okay, let's go get somewhere jnana bhakti vairagya. It's not that. We have to do sadhana, acquire, learn shastras, obtain jnana, and with this mahatmya jnana purvakaha sudrudaha sarvato adhikaha sneho bhakti iti proktaha. That sneha bhava towards Paramatma has to be increased. This is how we will be doing our duties in the right way, with the right anusandhana, and go towards Paramatma. So this is the instruction given to Arjuna. This is applicable to everybody in the samsara. What about the people in liberation? For them, they don't have any sadhana. So people who already have obtained liberation, why should they bother about any of this? Means even them, for them, swabhavika, that means naturally, inherently, they don't have any sadhana. Of course, they don't have to do sadhana. Sadhana is not applicable to them, but they enjoy inherent bliss because mukti anyatha rupamitva swarupena vyavasthiti. So the anyatha rupatva, anyatha jnana, anyatha things are not there. The liberated ones are also aware of this swatantra rupatva of the, even in case of moksha, mukta jivas, for their mukti sukha, they are dependent upon us. So even after going to the liberation, though sadhana is not there, they are also, mukta jivas are also eternally dependent upon Paramatma. So eternal dependency on Paramatma is there for Lakshmi, for mukta jivas, for everybody it is there. So this concept of eternal dependence upon Sri Hari will make people have the right kind of behavior, right kind of attitude if they digest it. Just knowing it alone will not help people to go in the right direction. After learning it, we have to apply that. That application capability comes with practice, daily abhyasa, sadhana, nitya Bhagavad Chintana, nitya uh, thoughts of Paramatma. This is what is important for us, and that is what is the Geetha helps us in acquiring that, and that is needed whether someone is in the battlefield or whether someone is doing any activity. No matter what the activity is, this is universally applicable principle. That is why Geetha is relevant for Arjuna as much as it is relevant for us. This is what we can know about this. And then the next concept that comes is these bodies are going away and they get destroyed, but the soul that remains, maybe it will remain for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, million years, billion years. But how do we know it will be there eternally, endless? How do we know? Means the only way we can know about the complete endless state of the body, endless state of the soul and the destructibility of the body. This can come only through Shastras, and this sloka actually tells how the souls are eternal, why the souls, Jiva, why the Jiva is eternal, what is the process, by what process the jiva is eternal, and this bodies, they get destroyed. Even though the body get destroyed, jiva remains eternal. Means how, why, where, what is the process? So this is explained in a very brief way in the sloka, and Acharya comes to our desk in Bhashya Tatparya. He elaborates this in an excellent way and explains us how this is. So, how this is present inside the sloka itself in the hidden form, how Acharya elaborates, we will see that today. So, Antavanta ime dehaha nityasya ukta sharirinaha. Here, sharirinaha, the body, whoever acquired body. So, for people, no, Lakshmi and Narayana, this is not applicable because they're eternally, they never get the physical bodies. They are always Jnananandatmaka. Even in their avatars, they are always Purnas. I mean, they are having Aprakrita Sharira only. They do, Lakshmi is not Purna. Of course, Paramatma alone is Purna. But even though Lakshmi is not Purna, because of the grace of Paramatma, she will not have Prakula, because she is Nitya Mukta. Nitya Muktatva is there for Lakshmi and Narayana. Both are Nitya Muktas, ever liberated. So because they are ever liberated, they never have a physical body, even during avatars. That is a beautiful concept, and this sloka differentiates for sharirinaha, for people who acquire body. That means for people who are in samsara, for them, Antamanta ime they, these he's saying ime they have these bodies means the physical, the bodies that we can see, the physical bodies. These bodies means what? Not the soul, because soul we cannot say this, we cannot point to a soul and say this, look at this, these jivas. We cannot say. We can say these bodies, only the physical bodies. So ime deha, these physical bodies are antavanta. They have destruction, they get destroyed eventually, and they belong to Nityasya Ukta Sharina. They belong to Nitya, means Nitya Jiva has these bodies. So Jiva is Nitya. And also the Nityasya, Nitya Paramatma, Paramatma is the owner. We are given like a rental property, we are giving temporarily some connection with these bodies. So we acquire bodies. So temporarily we can say, oh, these are my bodies. That is only Loka Vyavahara Ritya, we say, but real owner is Paramatma, but he has given us those bodies so that we can perform our sadhana. So these bodies, which are Ukta, they are told as belonging to the Nitya, Nitya Jiva. These bodies are given to the Nitya Jivas who are Sharirinaha, Sharira, Shiryate Sharira. That which gets destroyed is called Sharira. This Sharirinaha, people who have these destructible bodies, though the bodies are Antavanta, they have this destructibility. That means they eventually get destroyed. Anashinaha, Aprameyasya. So, Anashino Prameyasya, Tasmat Yasva Bharata. Bharata, hey Arjuna, Tasmat, for that reason, what reason? Anashinaha Aprameyasya. These bodies of physical bodies, they get destroyed, but the Swarupa Dehas, they are Anashina, means they don't have destructibility because they are Pratibimba of Paramatma. Aprameyasya Anashina. Aprameya is Paramatma, he is Prama, means miyate, pramiti, that means limitedness. Limitedness is prama bhuta prameyatva is limitedness. Aprameya means one who is unlimited. No prameya is there, no limitation is there. That's where he is aprameya. No limitation means what? No limitation means he is deshataha kalataha. In all places he is present. He is present at all times and in all places. That is aprameya. He cannot be measured. He cannot be measured. He cannot say, okay, he's present here but not here. No, that's not possible. He's present a very tiny bit in the universe, liberated and unliberated parts of the universe. He's present, and he's present at all times. And because the jiva is pratibimba of that Paramatma, they are also eternal. The jiva is eternal. Why jiva is eternal? Because they are pratibimba. Bimba, pratibimba, bhava. We talk about this all the time. So, we are pratibimbas, Paramatma is bimba. But we never go to the depths of that. The depths of that is what actually Acharya explains here. If we take that analogy, there's a mirror and we stand in front of the mirror. If we move, the reflection in the mirror moves. So the bimba pratibimba bhava, the swatantratva, that means compared to the pratibimba reflection in the mirror, we are swatantra. Then we can move our hands, everything. But the reflection in the mirror will then move. If we have to put a cap on the top of the head in the reflection, we cannot put actually, without putting on our head, we cannot put a cap on the mirror reflection. We have to put a cap on our head, then the reflection in the mirror will have a cap. So whatever we do for the bimba, same thing will happen to the pratibimba. So that is what. So Paramatma as bimba rupi, he does so many things by making us do the things. So he actually makes us function by being bimba and pratibimba. That is fine. So what is this to do with anashnaha prameyasya? Imagine, suppose if the mirror breaks, the pratibimba goes away. Or if we move away from the mirror, then the reflection goes away. The reflection in the mirror can get destroyed by two things. One, either the mirror gets destroyed or the reflection gets destroyed, or suppose we ourselves lose our body. We just know when a person dies, the body is gone, so the reflection will not be there for that body. So if the original bimba itself gets destroyed, then also the reflection is. So the reflection can get destroyed by three things. Either bimba gets destroyed, or the upadhi, the reflecting medium, gets destroyed, or the sanidhya, that means the nearness between bimba and the upadhi or the reflection, the mirror. When the sanidhya or nearness gets destroyed, then also the reflection gets destroyed. So three ways the reflection gets destroyed. In case of jiva, see, in case of jada padarthas, the reflecting medium and the reflection are two different things. They cannot be same. Like in a reflecting medium, the reflection comes. In case of a jada, reflection and the reflecting medium have to be different. So you have three entities. One is bimba and the mirror or the reflecting medium and the reflection itself, pratibimba. Three things are there. In case of chetanas, you don't need a separate medium. The jiva itself can be a reflecting medium. So the jiva is a reflecting medium and Paramatma is the bimba. Paramatma is eternally present. He is present at all times, and Paramatma is eternally present and he is present at all places also. So what happens if the jiva and jiva is the reflection of Paramatma, means Paramatma is a bimba, jiva is the reflection. But what is the reflecting medium? The reflecting medium is also jiva only. Jiva only is the reflecting medium. And Paramatma, what he did, he made the reflecting medium eternal. That means the jiva's eternality is because of its own eternality. That means the eternality of the jiva comes into play because Paramatma willed so, he intended so, he wants the jiva to be eternal. And he said, okay, this jiva will maintain its eternality because I am reflecting, Paramatma is reflecting into the jiva. Paramatma's reflection is in the jiva. So the jiva is both reflecting medium and the reflection, pratibimba, and also the upadhi. Jiva itself is the upadhi. There is no need for another upadhi. Upadhi means like a mirror. Mirror is the upadhi. Upadhi, upadhi. So what that which is near us and it makes us reflect. So that is what's called upadhi. The darpana or the mirror is upadhi. So here, in case of Paramatma and Jiva, Jiva is the like a mirror. It is the upadhi, it is the reflecting medium, and Paramatma is the bimba, and the reflection of the Paramatma is in the Jiva, and then Paramatma, suppose, okay, the three things that we talked about, the destructibility can happen, the Pratibimba can get destroyed if Bimba gets destroyed. Paramatma will never get destroyed. He is Nitya. So he is eternal. He is Swatantra. He is Purna. So Paramatma is there at all times. So Paramatma is Nitya. So Jiva will not have destruction because of Bimbanasha is not applicable to Jiva because Paramatma is Nitya. What about Jiva, Upadhi itself? That means the mirror, like the reflection, the Jiva. Jiva is Nitya because Paramatma willed so, so Jiva is Nitya. So Paramatma wanted Jiva to be Nitya because he is as Aprameya, he is protecting the Jiva. He is present as Bimbarupi and he is protecting the Jiva. Because he is protecting the Jiva, he is maintaining its Nityatva. And then what about the the Sanidhya, the nearness? If it goes, then also like that means if Paramatma moves away from Jiva, then Jiva can get destroyed. But the Sanidhya Nasha can never happen because Paramatma is present everywhere. How can Paramatma move away? Because he is present everywhere. Because he is present everywhere, he is Sarvadeshagata, Sarvakalagata, Sarvadeshagata. He is present everywhere. Aprameya, this Aprameya Shabda tells he is present everywhere. That means the Sanidhya Nasha will not happen. That means the nearness will never get destroyed. That is indicated by the word Aprameya. And Anashinaha, the Bimbanasha is not there. Paramatma is eternal, so he is Anashi. That's why Jiva is also Anashi. Jiva becomes Anashi because Paramatma is Anashi. Jiva is Anashi because Jiva is eternal and Paramatma is reflecting into the Jiva. So the Jiva is eternal because of three kinds of Nasha are prevented. Bimba is Nitya and the Upadhi, that is Jiva itself is the Upadhi, that is Nitya. And because inside Jiva is reflecting itself, is using itself for reflecting the Paramatma. So the mirror and the reflection both are Jiva only, mirror like thing. So that is why the Nityatva of Jiva is maintained. Paramatma is Nitya, Jiva is Nitya, but Jiva is a dependent Nitya, Paramatma is Swatantra Nitya, independent Nitya. This Nityatva Bhava is to be understood in a proper sense. And people say, oh, we are also Nitya, Paramatma, Nitya, we are all similar. Similar is similar. That means Nityatva is there. And he is complete in his infinite completeness. When a Mukta Jivas, when they obtain liberation, they become their own full, like a small glass or a small vessel. So each Jiva have their own potential. Like if you take why they were, Ruzuganas, they are like, Mahasamudras, they are like, huge. But Paramatma is Ananta. He is infinite. Everyone else is finite. So this Nityatva and the Paramatma, Nityatva, Paramatma and Jivas, and the infiniteness of Paramatma and the finiteness of Jivas, if we understand this in a proper way, our bhakti, jnana towards Paramatma will become firmed up. It will become stable. It will become sthira and help us in doing sadhana and traveling in the Mukti Marga and going towards Paramatma. This kind of anusandhana will help us. That is what is presented in this sloka. So every sloka in Bhagavad Gita is like a precious jewel. Every sloka gives a different aspects, a different outlook, which will increase our bhakti, jnana towards Paramatma. And this sloka is, in that way, is beautiful sloka. This also. Antavante me dehaha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmad yudhyasva bharata. For that reason, O Arjuna, fight. You have to fight because it is your duty, number one. Number two, that is, you should remember the nityatva of the jiva and the anityatva of the deha. Deha are going to go away. Okay, you are going to kill Bhishma and Drona, they are going to die, their dehas will go away. But their souls, they go back to their Mula Rupas, their Avatar Purushas, they go to their Mula Rupas. And the others who are not Avataras, what about, small ordinary soldiers? They die. What about them? They will acquire another body. They will get different body. Because in this body, they have stood for supporting Adharma, Duryodhana. And what about good people who are dying on the side of Pandavas? In the Dharma sadhana, they do their, both, all of them, they are doing their own duties, whatever way they are thinking, and they reap their fruits. Like people who die in the battle, they may have a Viraswarga, but eventually, what will happen is they will reach their appropriate destinations based upon their karmas. All their lives, they stood for dharma, means dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. So dharma will protect them. If they engage in dharmic activities, that will give them protection, and eventually they will travel towards that. So this beautiful message is given in this nice sloka, and that is applicable for Arjuna. Tasmat yudhyasva. Hey Arjuna, because of that you fight in the war. For us, because of that you do your duties. Whatever you are doing, engage in your activities. So here, instead of yudhyasva, for us, the word that we can apply is stand for the battle of life. The battle of life is also a battle of life. And in this battle of life, engage, do it, and do your duty in the right way. The duty consciousness is to be inculcated in the minds of all the people, and this sloka helps us in doing that, in achieving that. With this, I'll give a pass, and I'm ending my talk today. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask the questions, and if you ask later on also, you can feel free to ask questions, and I will answer. If there are questions that are asked later on, I can answer in the next session. But if you have any questions now, I will answer them now. Hare Srinivasa, Sri Krishna Arpanamastu, Kayana Vacha, Mansendhyarva, Buddhyatmana va, Anusasvabhavam, Karomi Idhi Sakalam Parasme, Narayanaya Samprayami, Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hare Srinivasa.
Hare Srinivasan, sir. As of now, there are no questions.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I just wanted to request if you want to talk about our Mantralaya Prabhu today, as it is Janmadina, and functions are going on everywhere.
Yeah.
So probably it would be nice to hear from you about Guru Raja on this day.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a very nice thing. Yeah, Raghavendra Swami, he, like, my father always used to say, in Kali Yuga, in our times, the two, actually in Kannada, I say, Nintu Matado Devrande Venkappa, now Nintu Matado Gurugalande Ragappa. Now in Kannada, is the God who stands in front of us and, as if he's present and we feel his presence. So that kind of God is Venkatramana. I mean, of course, God is there in all forms, in all ways, but Venkateshwara is like, so people feel so close, like, they have a different kind of experience. Same way, like, we have so many great gurus are there. Our Guru Parampara is such a wonderful Guru Parampara. All the gurus are there. But the moment people say Raghavendra Swami, Rayaru, Nammarayaru, people will feel so much of closeness as if he's standing next to us. So, and the miracles that he performed during his lifetime, people will look at those miracles. So Rayaru saved so many people, he did so many miracles. And we say Pujya Raghavendraya, Satyadharmarataya, Bhadatam Kalparukshaya, Namatam Kamadhenave, Durvadi Dvantaravaye, Vaishnavindi Varendave, Sri Raghavendra Gurave, Namo Atyanta Dayalave, we slay the sloka, just not like a manual, like a mechanical recitation, we should not tell. Atyanta Dayalave, so gracious. The grace of Raghavendra Swami During his times, okay, he did so many miracles, but the greatest miracle that he has done is everlasting miracle is his granthas. His granthas, big collection of works, and by which he is helping all kinds of devotees. Even today, we are all so fortunate to have such great works of Raghavana Swami. It's not enough just to keep them and locked up in this Bhagavad Gita. Now we are doing that Bhagavad Gita. Let us just connect with Bhagavad Gita and Raghavana Swami. For Bhagavad Gita, Acharya, Madhvacharya has given two beautiful works, Bhashya and Tatparya. And he gives one kind of a flow in Bhashya and another kind of a flow in Tatparya. And though Acharya is very brief, as you can, Bhagavad Gita itself is so brief, Acharya has elaborated, but still Acharya is still brief in the sense for common man, so many thoughts are hidden and they have to be brought up. So for this reason, for Bhashya, Tikarayar has written Prameya Deepika, and for Tatparya, Tikarayar is a Nyaya Deepika. And Raghavendra Swami, he said, okay, Tikarayar has written, and when Tikarayar is such a great Tikakara, Raghavendra Swami is a great Tippanikara. The greatness of Raghavendra Swami is that he has written for the Tikas, he has written Tippanis, and also he has written independent works. And also he has written directly to Raghavendra Swami, Madhvacharya's works he has written direct, like for example, Anubhashya, Acharya has written Anubhashya. For that, Raghavendra Swami has written a direct commentary for that. Similarly, for directly for like Vedavyasa's granthas, like Mahabharata, Tatparya Nirnaya, Acharya written, for that Bhava Sangraha is written, but also when it comes to directly for Vedavyasa's works, he has written directly on them also, like, Sri Krishna Charitra Mandari, Sri Rama Charitra Manjari, like this, using them, he has directly written on Vedavyasa's work. And also, he has written for Vyasaraya, his own avatar has taken as Prahalada, taken Vyasaraya, and Vyasaraya again, Raghavendra Swami came as in Raghavendra Swami form, and his previous avatar of Vyasaraya works, for that he has written commentary also. Like this, he has written commentaries, and his greatness is that when it took a bigger grantha like Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya, he has written a Bhava Sangraha by condensing it. When Acharya wrote a condensed Anubhashya, he elaborated it and written an elaborate commentary on that. So he has done condensation and elaboration. He has written directly the commentaries, he has written the Tippanis. So all kinds of works he has written. And as devotees, we should know Atyanta Dayalu Raghavendra Swami has done this miracle, and for Bhagavad Gita, he saw so much of necessity is there to write. So he has written the commentary for Prameya Deepika, he has written Tippani, for Nyaya Deepika, he has written Tippani, and he was not still satisfied. He wrote directly on Bhagavad Gita, Gita Vivruti. Gita Vivruti is, like he took, Raghavendra Swami's greatness is Khandartha. This Khandartha technique, though so many have used it, Rayar has brought it to a great shape, this Khandartha approach. He takes any sloka and explains the full meaning like a Pratipadartha. He takes each word and goes to the root meaning of that word and gives the bhava hidden in that. And wherever there is a scope for misconception, he elaborated it and gave a clear thinking process. In Gita, for example, if we take Paryaptam Tidameshe, the first adhyaya sloka that comes, where Aparyaptam Tadasmakam Balam Bhishma Bhirakshitam, Paryaptam Tidametesham Balam Bhima Bhirakshitam. When this sloka is told, the prayer people, lot of commentators, they came and explain. Madhvacharya said, he knows, what the sloka tells, but he did not elaborate on that because he thought it's obvious. But Rairu came, by his time, people already got all confused minds. So he said, okay, though Acharya Madhva didn't say, I know his heart, Shri Purnabodha Guru Tirtha Payobdhipara, whatever, Purnabodha, Madhvacharya is compared to Samudra, the banks of that, Rairu, he knows what is the thinking process of Acharya Madhva, and he gives the thought process of Acharya Madhva. So this sloka, just take a sample, there everybody interpreted, oh, because they have 11 Akshauhinis, Duryodhana was talking that his army is very huge, big and unlimited army, and the Pandava army is very limited, small, 500, 7 Akshauhinis, only nothing. It's a small army. That's what Duryodhana told. But no, that's not what he told. No, of course we touched on the part, but Rayaru came and said, oh, wait a minute, Paryaptam, Aparyaptam is not limited, unlimited. In that sense, it is not used. It is used in the sense Paryaptam means capable. Pandava army protected by Bhima is capable of defeating us, but our army protected, even though Bhishma is there, it is not capable of defeating them. So this is how the situation is. This is totally opposite meaning. Like this, so many places, Rairu comes and he says, elaborates it, explains it. So he has written this third work also on Bhagavad Gita. And another example that people can talk about, and after teaching all the Gita, at the end, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Vimrushya, after analyzing all this, whatever you please, you do it. So everybody came before, they said, of course, Acharya came and elaborated that, and then Rayaru comes and elaborates further, and Yatechasi Tathakuru, just you do whatever you please, you do it. After giving all the instruction, will Krishna tell whatever please you do it? If we take the prior verses and the next verses, Krishna is telling, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Buddeshe Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudhani Maya. You are Yantra Rudhas, you are making, you do not have any Swatantra. I am the one who guides everything, who make people function. So, Yathechasi Tathakuru is Akshepa. Akshepa means challenge. Yay, Arjuna, do you think you cannot fight? I will make you fight or not fight. I am the one who is going to dictate you. You will be fighting. That's all. You do not have control. You better realize this and do your duty. This Yathechasi Tathakuru, the correct interpretation and the correct meaning, Rairu came and elaborated beautifully based upon the commentary of Acharya and Tatparya Acharya told, but he told in a brief way. Rairu comes and elaborates it, explains it. Like this, we have to remember the real miracle of Raghavendra Swami, which is in the form of all the granthas, the great works, and it is great loss if we do not utilize those granthas and learn Shastra when he has explained in such simple, nice, beautiful terms. If we don't utilize the Shastras, we are not really doing the justice for the great works of Rayaru. So we should remember that that is the real miracle of Raghavendra Swami, and keeping that miracle of Raghavendra Swami in mind, we have to do Shastra Abhyasa, study the works of Rayaru every day. Like now, Pratasankalpa Gadya, Sarvasamarpana Gadya, you start the day with Pratasankalpa Gadya. It's not just doing Sankalpa alone, the Sankalpa along with Tattva Bodha, that beautiful 3-page, it's a very small work, and that beautiful work has the basic Tattva Jnana embedded in that. And when we do the Sankalpa, how the Paramatma Rupas are there, how Lakshmi Rupas are there, how Vayu Rupas are there, how they function, why, what way they are doing the niyamana of all the devotees and what we should pray them. All this is embedded in that Pratasankalpa Gadya, beautiful work. And end of the day, you finish the day, you start the day with Pratasankalpa Gadya, you end the day with Sarvasamarpana Gadya. Whatever we have done all through the day, we offer that to Paramatma again. Vayu Antargata, through Vayudeva. So the Vayudeva Chintana has to be there in Pratasankalpa Gadya, and also Sarvasamarpana Gadya. Rayaru explains the role of the Vayudeva as well, and instructs us that we have to go through Vayudeva only, and then through Lakshmi Devi and to Paramatma. So that is how we have to approach Paramatma, because to understand Paramatma, Vayudeva Avtara Madhvacharya works are also needed. This is indicated by Rayaru in both Pratasankalpa Gadya and Sarvasamarpana Gadya. Start the day with Pratasankalpa Gadya of Rayaru and end the day with Sarvasamarpana Gadya of Rayaru. And remember, that is the greatest miracle of Rayaru is nothing but his own works. And let us remember that and offer our prayers to through Rayaru, Sri Raghavendra Guru Antargata, Bhatiramna Mukhya Pran Antargata, Sri Lakshmi Narayana, may he protect and guide us all in the right direction. Hare Srinivasa, Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Dhanyawad, sir. It was very nice to hear from you on Guru Rajaru. So today we don't have any questions, so probably we can
sure.
end the session.
Yeah, Hare Srinivasa.
Hare Srinivasa. Krishna Arpanamastu.
Krishna Arpanamastu.